Let me ask you a quick question. If you look at the mirror, who do you see? You could say, I see me. But the most common way of saying that in English is, I see myself. So say, look at yourself in the mirror, and I would say, I see myself when I look at the mirror. Myself, yourself are reflexive pronouns. So reflexive pronouns are pronouns in English that use self the same way that we use mesmo in Portuguese, right? A mim mesmo, a você mesmo, a ele mesmo, ela mesma, but we don't use mesmo. We use self, and it actually forms a pronoun. So every subject pronoun has their own respective reflexive pronoun. I, myself, you, yourself, he, himself, she, herself, it, itself, we, ourselves. So for the plural, we use selves instead of self. We, ourselves, you, yourselves. So if I'm referred to one specific person, you is you, yourself. But if I'm talking to a group of people, I would say you, yourselves, and they, themselves. Look at these examples to see how reflexive pronouns are used. So she looked at herself in the mirror. It's the mirror is always a great example for reflexive pronouns because you're literally looking at your own reflection. So you are looking at yourself. She looked at herself, third person, singular. I'm trying to teach myself Italian with an app. When you try to learn a new language with an app, you're not using a teacher, you're just using a tool. So really, you are teaching yourself, right? You are teaching yourself the language. By the way, this was I actually believe. You are teaching yourself English right now. The learning process is very much in your hands. You are at the helm. You hold the power to conduct your own learning. A teacher is not the master. A teacher is just a guide, right? So you actually teach yourself foreign languages. Our children walk to school by themselves. So if the children don't have anybody going with, maybe they're teenagers, I don't know. If they don't have anyone following them or accompanying them, they're just walking alone, they are walking by themselves. Reflexive pronouns refer back to a person or a thing. We often use reflexive pronouns when the subject and the object of a verb is the same. That's what that means. When you have a sentence, let's think about the mirror again. Who's looking at the mirror? Me. And what's in the mirror? Me. So I am both the subject and the object of the same verb. For example, I cut myself when I was making dinner last night. I hope you enjoy yourselves at the party tonight. My phone isn't working properly. It turns itself off for no reason. And we need to believe in ourselves more. In all of these sentences, I cut myself. Well, who cut? I cut. And what did I cut? I cut myself. I am both the subject and the object of the same verb. So I say, instead of saying I cut I or I cut me, I say I cut myself. I hope you enjoy yourselves. The verb enjoy in English is often accompanied by a reflexive pronoun. I can enjoy something. For example, I can enjoy a nice meal, or I can enjoy a hot cup of coffee. But if I'm just enjoying having fun, I am enjoying myself. So if I'm talking to two girls that are going out for a party, I say, hey, girls, enjoy yourselves. I hope you enjoy yourselves, right? Um, if the phone is turning off by itself, that means that it turns itself off. I'm not turning it off. It's turning itself off on its own. And we need to believe in ourselves. So, a very famous sentence from Greek myth is conhece a ti mesmo, right? So, know yourself. Actually, the classical sentence is with the thy in English, like know thyself. But sure enough, you can find that as know yourself, conhece a ti mesmo, because you know, and the thing that you know is you. So know yourself. Um, We can add a reflexive pronoun for emphasis when it's unusual or different. For example, he wants to pass his driving test so he can drive himself to work. Or she broke her arm so she couldn't wash herself very easily. So even with verbs that don't normally come with reflexive pronouns, something like, enjoy yourself or cut yourself, you can still use that verb with a reflexive pronoun if you are talking about the same subject and object, right? Um, he can drive himself to work. Drive. I can drive a car. I can drive someone. So if I offer someone a ride, I am driving them to work. But if I'm riding my own car, I am driving myself, right? So he wants to pass a driving test so he can drive himself to work. Now, obviously, if you're driving, you're going somewhere. But the emphasis here is that someone wants to get a driver license because they want to have the power to drive themselves, right? She broke her arm so she couldn't wash herself. Washing is something you can wash your car, you can wash your dog, but when you wash, uh, if you're hurt, you have a broken arm, it's more difficult to wash. So the emphasis here is washing herself. Washing herself is difficult because she has a broken arm. We can use reflexive pronouns to emphasize that someone does it personally, not anybody else. Example: the door was definitely locked. I locked it myself. Are you redecorating your flat yourselves? If I say that I did something myself, mean I actually did it. The door is locked. I locked it myself. I am emphasizing that I was the one who locked the door. We can also use a reflexive pronoun together with the noun it refers to in order to emphasize it. We talked to the manager herself, and she agreed to give us our money back. Parents themselves need to take more responsibility for their children's learning. So, the manager herself, parents themselves. I am emphasizing the person, right? So that's actually the manager. That's the manager herself. Or that's he talked to the president. He talked to the president himself. I am emphasizing the noun, right? Needless to say, for myself, yourself, herself, themselves, it's for people. If you're talking about a thing, itself. I can say that the book is beautiful, but the story is lacking. The story is boring. So the book itself is beautiful, but the story is boring, right? So I'm emphasizing the book. Okay. Very commonly, we use by with a reflexive pronoun to mean that is that person or those people alone. All by myself. You know that song, right? It goes over and over. All by myself. Don't want to be all by myself anymore. Meaning I don't want to be alone. Alone, all by myself. That's the same thing. He usually goes on holiday by himself, meaning he goes alone. Or do you enjoy being by yourself? Do you enjoy being alone? I can also use by themselves. Like my parents went on a trip by themselves. They're going, just the two of them, no one else from the family. So they're going by themselves, right? By with a reflexive pronoun. And finally, we have a very interesting reflexive pronoun is the pronoun oneself. One and oneself are used in formal or impersonal contexts to refer to a person in general rather than a specific individual. In Portuguese, I would say a pessoa. They're often used when the speaker wants to express something in a neutral or universal way. Here's how you can use oneself. One must always believe in oneself. Eu posso dizer, você tem que acreditar em si mesmo. You have to believe in yourself, or you must believe in yourself. But if I want to be more formal, instead of saying you, I could say one must always believe in oneself. That is absolutely a formal and impersonal way to say the same thing, right? So it depends on the context. I would say you must believe in yourself, or one must believe in oneself. To truly understand others, one must first understand oneself. Again, you must first understand yourself. We could do that. One sets the formal tone, and one means no one in particular. I'm talking about people in general, right? Oneself is common in advice, rules, or expressions of general truth, like it's important to take care of oneself, or one should never let oneself be discouraged by failure. And it's absolutely formal. It creates a formal tone. In everyday speech and casual speech, people usually say you and yourself. Example, a formal sentence. One must challenge oneself to grow. Informal example. You must challenge yourself to grow. So, did you like the video? Did you learn anything new today? If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment.